Hi, welcome to my podcast, Happy Body by Bill. Let me tell you a little bit about me and tell you a little bit about the purpose of this podcast. As I said, my name is Bill Pavlik. I am married to a wonderful woman. I have two wonderful teenage kids in high school. Grew up on the south side of Chicago. Very active my whole life. Loved playing basketball, football, not so much baseball. Was always afraid of getting hit by the ball. And then high school, college, I was able to swim and play water polo. For the past 35 years, I've been a certified personal trainer, a body worker. Thai yoga massage has been kind of my specialty. I've been blessed to be an owner of two fitness studios. And currently, I'm a fitness program manager for a senior living community. And I'm honored to, and have been honored to, educate hundreds of individuals to a pain-free, mindful, active lifestyle. So I wanted to start this podcast because, well, I've got 35 years of experience, insight, things that work, things that don't work, so we can continue to live a quality life in this vessel that we call the human body. So we do have a mission. I want to create a community for sharing and learning about the many ways that we can navigate our personal relationship with our body that meets our daily and our future physical and emotional needs. So that's my mission. My vision is that we create a community. So your feedback and your input is important. And I'd love you to either hit subscribe or give me comments and feedback so that we can share those in our community. Now, why have I waited this long? Well, it's taken me this long to kind of get some wisdom, a lot of trial and error, work with a lot of people and understand what works and what doesn't work when it comes to finding, a balance between health and wellness with the human body. And, today's modern science and medicine can keep the human body alive to 100 years old. So that's a non-issue anymore. Question is, what's the quality of the experience that we're going to have for 100 years? Because the human body is what hosts. It is the vessel in which our body experiences our soul, and our spirit and our mind. So we're going to hopefully get older. We don't want the alternative. In 2016, the U.S. Census found that there were 82,000 centurions being people who have lived to 100 years old. And they're expecting this figure to increase to 589,000 by the year 2060. Now, I'm only 57 years old. And by the time 2060 hits, I don't even hit 100 years old. So there's still a lot of learning and mastering of the human body that we can do. And I want us to be partners in learning from each other and figuring out what works for some and what works for others. As I mentioned, our body is a vehicle. It is what houses the mind and the soul, our spirit. It's what we experience life through. And if we want to keep this vehicle functioning at a good level, pain-free, doing the things we wanted to do, then we're going to have to learn how to care for it. We're going to learn how to be a partner with it versus it being something that we're working against. I always tell our residents that you didn't come with an owner's manual. So you're going to have to learn how to operate this machine versus just using it mindlessly. And that's kind of the fun part about it is it's a learning process. We almost get to, from the age of 40 on, learn how to use this machine. We do have a lot of challenges, though, in front of us when it comes to caring for our health, caring for our well-being, maintaining maximum functionality. A lot of them are basically lifestyle choices. Now, this podcast is by no means meant to be judgmental. It's meant to shed light on the challenges and the choices, and then what are the options in navigating these so we can, reach the same objective, and that is enjoying the experience in our body, ideally pain-free, and maintaining as much functionality and mobility as possible so we can do the things that we enjoy doing with the people that we love. But, heart disease is a really big issue. It's like the number one killer. And a lot of our life choices do contribute to that. Cancer, once again, is another challenge that we have to address. But if we can address those issues through lifestyle choices, good habits and patterns, then we can minimize that risk. Unintentional injuries, sometimes when people age, tripping and falling becomes an unintentional injury. Strokes, chronic respiratory diseases, Alzheimer's, there's still a lot of research around Alzheimer's, diabetes. The flu is a common one, but even that comes down to how do we care for ourselves? Kidney disease. So there's a lot of obstacles that we have to navigate. And as a community, we want us to navigate these together. Now, the CDC, has done their studies, and they strongly believe that if we can, at a minimum, exercise 150 minutes, that's 20 minutes a day, that we can reduce a lot of those risks by 50%. And I got to tell you, I would take those odds. Those are great odds. If I knew that I can greatly reduce risk by 50%, and all it requires is me to exercise 20 minutes a day at a minimum, why not? I mean, why not figure out a way to make this happen? So that itself, though, can be a challenge, how to get started. And that's something that, in our podcast, we will address. How to get started, how to be consistent, how to make adjustments. Which leads to, what do we do? Now, there's tons of videos and experts on what to do. We're really good at finding what to do. We get a little more challenged with how to go about doing it. Sometimes we just watch somebody doing something in the gym. We hear somebody telling us what they're doing, and we're going to, repeat it. We're just going to kind of follow what they did. Well, it may not fit us. So how we go about doing and taking care of ourselves, how we go about exercising for various circumstances is something that we have to learn too. And yes, there is a lot of videos about how, but I think the most important thing is why. What are our motivations? Why are we going to make these changes? Why are we going to sustain the changes? What motivates us as we age? Because as we reach different decades in our aging, our motivators become different. When I was younger and I was in my 20s and my 30s, what motivated me to exercise and be consistent with routines was not so much about mobility and functionality, but to be honest with you, it was about attracting girls, and it was about trying to be fit and trying to be sexy, and that kind of was my driving motivator. It was also a big release for frustrations and anger that I guess I really didn't realize at the time, but those motivated and fueled me to have hard workouts and get to the gym, and the old saying, I got to get my workout in. I got to get my workout in. My why is very different now. I'm in my 50s. I have 2 kids. I have a wife. And I have a future that is now looking different at the age of 57 than it did when I was 27 and 37. So my why has to change. And we want to help you figure out what is your why, because regardless of what you believe about staying active, being fit, the inevitable is there. If we're not active, if we don't stay fit, if we don't try to improve on what we're doing, the aging process is going to do what it's going to do anyways. So within this podcast, over a period of time, we're going to address certain issues. It kind of ideally wants to be a format. And one of the formats I call is like partner aging versus anti-aging. Anti is very much against aging. We can't be against aging. We're already fighting the losing battle then in our mind. If we're against the aging, then all we're trying to do is hold on to youth. And there's going to be a rude awakening when the body just isn't working the way you remember it working in your teens, 20s, and 30s. So we need to partner with the aging process. We need to be partners with our body. Also, we need this educational process. We have to continue to educate ourselves. When I got into this field in the mid 80s, there was, a very, very few bits of information about how to exercise safely, how the physiology of the body works in exercise. Bodybuilders kind of were on the cutting edge of pushing the limits of what the body really could look like. And then athletes were on the edge of what the body could do. So that information was very sparse, and it was hoarded. This information now is available to everybody. It's available to you. Education on how to use your body, how to exercise, how to diet, how to make adjustments on healing your body, recovering your body, physical therapy, through different modalities of movement is all available to us. So to not educate yourself is a choice that you're making. So learning about the human machine, we're going to focus sometimes on anatomy. So you understand why we need to make adjustments to how we use it. Fitness wisdom, the human body's been in existence for millions of years. And for 200,000 years, kind of the modern version of our body. So there's loads of wisdom that we can tap into to help guide us with a pain-free, long life. Fitness marketing traps. This is one of those things where I kind of like have to grab my hair sometimes. We're constantly being targeted by companies that, they want us to consume their products. They want us to consume their services. And I'm all fine with that, but we need to make, good choices. The dietary industry, the medical industry, the pharmaceutical industry, and we're going to explore, how to navigate that and what choices are good for us and how to be weary of choices that are not good for us. We also have to have a sense of humor, folks. Humor is like one of the best medicines. It releases so many wonderful endorphins in our body. So we're going to do a little segment called Fitness Funny because we need to laugh, and laughter is a healthy medicine. Down in the corner, you'll see kind of a little sign that says, "I can't believe I forgot to go to the gym today." That's 7 years in a row. So we have to laugh at ourselves because that's what makes us human. That's what connects us with each other. We're also going to address the pros and pitfalls of fitness. Just like, too much of a good thing isn't a good thing. And we have to know how to manage and be aware of that. And then the last piece I want to also incorporate something is what I call fitness forward. We invest, for those that are exercising and taking care of ourselves and watching our nutrition, we're investing time into ourselves, which is great. And we're hopefully reaping the rewards of feeling good and enjoying the use of our body. But what are we doing with this investment to help someone else, to help others? Are we jumping to help somebody carry their groceries? Are we bending down to pick up that garbage that we are walking? Everybody's walking over to go into the health club and walking over after their exercise routines. Are we helping somebody on the side of the road change a tire? If we're going to take care of this vessel, let's give a little bit of that health that we've invested into ourselves back to others to, make their day or their moment just a little bit happier. So who's going to be in the show? Well, I'm Bill. I'm going to be on the show. Physical therapists we'll have on the show, personal trainers. We're going to have fitness department managers because they get a kind of broad look at fitness and exercise and wellness. We'll have athletes of all different ages, Pilates instructors, yoga instructors, body healing workers, behavioral modification coaches, kids. It's an open show because everybody's got a human body. We can all learn something from this body. I do have a disclaimer, though. And my disclaimer is this. Opinions and suggestions that I give or that anybody else gives are really, in my case, based on my experience or based on research or observations or all three. My opinions are not meant to be judgments. I don't know how you're going to take them, but they're not meant to be judgments. Before you make any personal health or fitness changes, you need to do your research. You need to implement your strategies. And then I would ask you to share your experiences so that we can all learn and benefit. Sometimes in this big journey of life, we can actually learn a lot more from what didn't work than what did work. So please share that. And it's not right or wrong. It's not good or bad. It's what worked and what didn't work. And what is the next step? So what can you do? Well, please get plugged in. Subscribe. I haven't, there's a subscribe button somewhere. Find your subscribe button, hit that subscribe button. Please stay tuned to podcasts coming out. I'll be letting everybody know. Leave comments. Please be respectful in your comments. Once again, this is just an opportunity for us to learn from each other, which leads me into my last line here. Let's live, let's learn together. Let's keep learning, let's keep living so that we're living well. So that's what I have. I'm looking forward to building a following. I'm looking forward to your feedback. And my closing statement is always be well. Thank you. Bye-bye.